everybody, welcome back to another episode of Luncheonette with Laura Diaz. That's me. I'm very excited to bring to you this interview with Jack Levine. Jack is the nation's foremost advocate for children and others, as you'll learn, and I think you're going to find it a very fascinating interview. So before we go into that, first of all, let's take out our lunch boxes. It's a good time to get ready to eat some lunch while you watch our show. And at the end, I don't want you to tune out too soon after that interview with Jack, because we're going to have some really funny stories to share with you that you guys sent in to me. So let's go to the interview with Jack. Hi, Jack. Thanks so much for being with us today. I'm so excited. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about what you're up to these days and why you're here at the conference to speak to everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, Laura. I'm an advocate. Advocates basically state their opinions, usually to people who make decisions, whether it be laws or budgets. So I'm an advocate for family policy, and I've been doing that for 34 years. So I have a little experience. I know about the old days, I know about the new days, and the beauty of being at this conference is because this conference is populated by what I call authentic voices. These are people who live the life every day like you, who have opened their hearts and opened their doors to children who need them. I do wholesale.
Wholesale.
I don't do retail.
Okay.
But my admiration is deep and very profound for those who have committed to the lives of children. My work is mostly in the legislative arena, and I work with the media, and I work with community opinion leaders who need to know more about the lives of children, and that's my advocacy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fantastic. Well, let me ask you this question. In this forum with the foster parents, what do you see as like one of the biggest issues for foster parents right now in the area of advocacy?
Well, not only for foster parents, but especially for foster parents, it's about life's balances. We all have our own needs, health-wise, for managing our time. We also have a need for income and opportunities for economics. Mm-hmm. And we also have a need, I think, for community connections. And one of the great challenges of foster parenting is creating this village, this community connections around the lives of children, because these children come with needs. And it's not only the torn t-shirt that we replace, it's helping to mend the torn life. And most of our children come to us without any resources. Literally, their life's possessions are in little grocery sacks. So we've got to find a way to balance what we need as individuals, whether it be foster parents or community allies, with the future. And the future is one that we determine in the context of that balance. So I know that real life intervenes sometimes. Family members get ill, out-of-town relatives need us. Sometimes people lose jobs or get cut back. So the idea of being exemplars for our children about that life's balance is what I think is the #1 priority.
Wow, that's great. That's really some good stuff there. I love that whole thing with integrating the community and community partnership in what we do, because it really does. There's a lot of things when you are working with foster children, as I do, you know, you depend on so many community things, everything from working with the school system and, you know, therapists and all kinds of agencies, and even for basic needs and everything. So that's awesome. I think.
Well, Laura, isolation is usually a very, very negative thing. And isolation, we're not supposed to be by ourselves. We're supposed to be connected. And for many of our children, isolation is a reality that we have to overcome because their life's experiences have not been as positive as we hope. So breaking through and making relationships and having them very meaningful is the key to quality foster parenting and quality of life for our community.
What do you think right now is one of the biggest challenges that you see in today's society, not only for the children, but also for the parents of those children?
Well, one of the great challenges is the environment of violence and the environment of negativity and sexism and racism. I don't want to get too large in answering the question because there are some challenges that are hard to really address.
And it's a 30-minute show.
But I think our realities are that a lot of our young people are being inundated with messages that we don't choose. Messages through violent media, messages through inappropriate young sexuality. And unfortunately, children do live what they learn. It's almost a cliche, but it's true. So I think we need to shield our children and give them positive alternatives in their daily lives from this inundation of negativity. I have met many young people who, frankly, they've never really picked up a book to read for enjoyment. Even though they can read, they don't read. So if you don't read, it's like you can't read. Mm-hmm. And I think also our text world, that becomes a little bit too addictive. So I think we need to take some of the technology and put it in its place as a tool, but I think we also have to give our children positive exposure to positive people, real people, not fake people that they see in the media.
That's a good point. I read a report recently about children and texting and how they're lacking today in relationships because they don't communicate in the way we used to have to communicate.
This is not eye contact.
It's replaced.
This is eye contact.
Exactly, it's replaced that. So that's good information, absolutely. Another question I had for you is I have understood that you really used to focus on children, but now you've kind of crossed the generations. What led to that, and how does that impact families and the children that we care for?
Well, Laura, I have to go on record. I have not abandoned children.
No, you've added to it.
Yes, I've
it's
diversified.
an addition. A diversification. We love that word.
And the reality is that's real life.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a home of elders. My father was 60 when I was born, and that's when 60 was old. Now that I'm 60 now, it's no longer old. But
it's the new 20, right?
Yeah, let's say 40.
Okay.
What we need more of is more intergenerational connections, because the wisdom and the treasury of our elders' lives can be translated in a very positive way to our young people. At the same time, our elders need the energy and enthusiasm of young people in their lives, but we have segregated the ages. You know, this kind of, the oldies live there and the youngies live here and they never see each other. That leads to not only fear and negativity, but it can border on hatred. Mm-hmm. So what my advocacy now is multi-generational on behalf of the children and on behalf of the elders and all of us in between, because that's real life. And I think that's more natural in family structure, and because we have separated so much, we need to integrate better.
And I think as foster parents, it gives us a little bit of a challenge too in helping the children to maintain those connections, even to like their grandparents and extended family, because they do have so much to add to their life and their histories and backgrounds, and it is their story. So I can certainly appreciate that. And having had a child recently that had no relationship with some family, and we were able to make that connection, and it was a true joy for them. They didn't even know they had grandparents. So
that is a joy.
Really a joy.
One of our great realities, and we're the only species that can say this, is we have the power to know our past and we have the power to govern our future. I mean, we can love the puppies and the kitties and all the other animals and bless them, bless the beasts, but they don't know where they came from and they don't know where they're going. And to be able to incorporate that into our daily lives, learning who came before us. And it doesn't have to be family. It could just be community or historical, our cultural background, our geographical background. And knowing that we have the power to plan our future, that's the key to progress. So if we take that seriously and teach our children the strategies and the skills to do that, then we all benefit.
I agree with that 100%.
Oh, good. That's a good grade.
I think that's fantastic. Who was it in your formative years that really kind of got you interested in this and led you down this path to becoming such a great advocate?
Well, I'm not going to diss other family members, but my dad was quite a guy. He was born in 1891. He lost his sight in 1942, 9 years before I was born. Now, there are some things that don't require vision, and sometimes they say when some senses go, the other ones perk up a little bit. So he had turned blind when he was 51, and I became his second set of eyes as a child. I read to him, I led him. My right arm was his passage into unfamiliar places. So his influence was because of need. My father was influential. He, when he wanted your opinion, he gave it to you. There was not a whole lot of negotiation.
Didn't have your own.
Yeah, and it wasn't like he locked me up, but you know that was my duty. And Like some things in life, some lessons, you don't really know or appreciate them until the years or the decades go by. And I realize now as a father of a 30-year-old and a 27-year-old that, I mean, I learned things from my father that no other kids learned from their fathers because of the history that he lived through. The entire 20th century was his domain. So I appreciate that, but also I tried to advocate on behalf of those who did not have that degree of positive influence. The last thing I would say is because most of us are from somewhere else in Florida.
Or New Jersey.
Yeah, that's really somewhere else. We used to call since I grew up in New York, we used to call New Jersey out west. 3/4 of Floridian adults are from another nation or another state. So we are truly a magnet for all this multicultural diversity. We should use that as an opportunity to learn and to blend more. You know, this is not North Dakota. This is Florida, and we have that special opportunity to appreciate and also leverage the strengths of all the families and all the diversities, and I think that's a great opportunity in fostering.
Yeah, I absolutely think so too. And especially in a lot of our cases when you get, multiple children from multiple families in your home, what a perfect opportunity to start having them respect one another and learn from each other and different cultures and backgrounds. So that's great. Well, this show, Luncheonette, we are talking to foster parents and caregivers from across the entire state of Florida, and a lot of them couldn't make it to this conference. So for the people that are out there watching this that aren't going to be able to be here, what message would you like to share with them? What do you want to leave them with that they're going to be able to use today to make a difference in their children's life in their home?
Well, I'm a kind of a let's keep in touch kind of guy. So I have a minimalist website called 4gen.org, number 4gen, GEN.org. I have an email called jack@4gen.org, so that's pretty simple. So I like to be in touch with folks. And my message is, let's recognize that we have more strengths than we have weaknesses. Let's be the most positive person in the room. Let's take optimism pills every day, because optimism and pessimism are both very contagious. We catch it from each other. And if we teach our children optimism, that they can use their strengths to succeed, then they will learn that pattern. If we go the other way, if we complain about our jobs, if we complain about our lives, they learn to be complainers and they learn to be negative, and that doesn't lead us anywhere but up a blind alley. So my feeling of message is be as positive as you can, be as persuasive as you can, but keep that optimism high every single morning.
Okay, that's a good message. Definitely a good message. I'm
Thank you.
gonna try to stay positive.
I'm going to check on you.
You've made me feel more positive today.
There you go. It's infectious.
And that was what I was going to ask you. How do you get this infectious
Well, I have a
positiveness?
prescription. I have a prescription. I have an optimism pill prescription. It's the time release kind, so every hour it kicks in, and another one just kicked in.
All right.
And when I stand in front of the group to make a speech, another will just kick in.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jack. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you speaking to our audience and foster parents around the state, and we're looking very forward to your keynote speech in there and your workshop. So once again, we appreciate your time, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
What a great interview. I think you can tell Jack is committed and dedicated, and I hope that we're going to have him again in a future episode. So stay tuned for that. I want to go through a few updates with you on our QPI website. It's www.qpiflorida.com, and we have recently posted some videos that I hope that you will find very educational and help you in your journey in foster parenting. The first one is Colleen LaCosta, and she is with the FAST team, Foster Allegation Support Team. She works hard in trying to help foster parents who are experiencing abuse allegations. So take a look at that. It's posted to our website, and it's going to be in the Foster Parent Video Training directory. Also, we have posted with Ben Ricada, it is Bringing the Classroom Home. And in our previous interviews, we talked about education and how important that initiative is. And I think you're going to find this an awesome training that helps us to help our children with homework and all the extra things to improve their educational experience. So take a look at that. Okay, one more recent training, guys, and that is we have just filmed a suicide prevention training that I think you guys are going to find very, very interesting. So keep posted, watch that website, and look for those emails. We'll let you know as soon as it's posted on the website. And this brings up an interesting point. I've had questions recently on how do I request training on the website. So if you can just bear with me a few minutes, I'm going to walk you guys through that, okay? And I want to give a shout out and kudos to my team here at USF because they've made a lot of recent changes to the website. They've upgraded it. There's more wonderful resources there than ever. So if you haven't been there in a while, go into www.qpiflorida, take a look. The documents we've added more to, some videos. We've changed a little bit in the formatting, so I think you're going to find it even more user-friendly than it was, and it was awesome before. So, you need new training. You see there's a situation come up and you're like, hey, we really need some training. So here's what you're going to do. Go to that home page. There is a toolbar that you're going to see that comes up right across the head of the home page. There's like 3 red buttons. There's a button that says Request Training. Now, there might be 4. Okay, don't hold me to the 3 because I'm not looking at my computer screen. But there's one red button and it says Request Training Now. You click on that and there's going to be a form that appears. Okay, and there's just a little bit of information we'd like from you. It's going to help us to set up a really quality training. Okay, first of all, we need your name. That's important. An email address would be good because we do correspond a lot back and forth with you via email, and also your phone number. Now, I'd like you, if you could, be as specific as you could about your situation. And by the way, if you've gone to the training directory and you've seen that we have a training that might kind of meet some of the needs that you have, but not everything, don't hesitate to send in another request. And you say, I looked at your training on whatever it is, but it didn't answer a few questions or situations that are going on in my home. Just be as specific as possible, because when I communicate with somebody, I'd like to give them as much information as possible and make sure they really feel qualified to help you in whatever that situation is. Okay, so back to the information. I would like, if you could, to put down the best dates and times that you're available. Now remember, we figure you're probably not the only person that's going to benefit from this training. We probably have other foster parents around the state that would benefit. And so when we do these live webcasts, we like to have as many participants online as possible so they can click on that little Q&A button and actually ask questions of the presenter and get some answers that might be a little bit more specific to their situation. So that's our goal, to deliver really quality trainings that are going to help you with the situations that you have going on. Now, just remember, if you have any questions or you have some troubles with the website or with requesting the training, or you completely forgot what I just said, email us, because we have a wonderful staff that is always here to support you and help you. So we're going to post that email address so you can contact us anytime. And of course, as I always do, I'm going to ask you for your thoughts, your suggestions, and what other topics you'd like to see on Luncheonette, and some possible really great interviews that I can do. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Okay, so that's how you request training, and I am going to go into my funny stories now. Okay, I promised them, and now I'm going to deliver on that promise. Do I sound like a politician? Here we go. So these are some that were sent to me, and if I start laughing, I'm sorry. We had one foster mom that says she had a 3-year-old who told anyone and everyone who would listen that her daddy was in jail. That goes well with all my different looking children we had. I had a mom at my girls' dance class ask me why all my children look different. I, of course, told her because they all have different daddies. So, pretty funny, huh? You guys have some good responses. Here's another one. I took 5 of mine and 2 of my foster parent friends' children on the Alzheimer's 5K walk run, and as we crossed the finish line, all 7 were with me. Someone said, "She's definitely on welfare." My friend answered back, "Yeah, and they all have different daddies." Okay, here's another one. A recent foster child kept saying, "My mom is so fast, she outran the police." I wanted to tell everyone I'm not that mom, but I just smile and let them wonder. My past 4-year-old foster child was sitting on the potty. He was kind of having a little bit of a loose stool, we'll say. I was there comforting him, and he said, "Ms. M, my tummy is singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." Thought that was cute. Okay, here's another funny one. Okay, this one's a little bit longer, but she says, by the end of my first year as a foster parent, I had 3 boys, all different in every way. One day, while having their hair cut, the stylist was very interested in the fact that I, being a brown-haired, brown-eyed, olive-skinned lady, gave birth to a child of the corn, which I'm assuming is the term for him being very tow-headed. This child had the blondest hair and bluest eyes, unskinned, that was almost transparent. I told her that I was not allowed to talk about the incident, but since I relocated to Florida, I guess I could. I told her I had an affair with a well-known member of the Swiss toboggan team while in the country. I told her my son looks just like his father, Hansel. He was not allowed to acknowledge the child or myself due to his current marriage. I thought she would pass out. LOL. Too funny. Okay, here's another one. I was walking out of the Dollar Tree with 4 of my kids, and an older woman turned around and looked at me and said, "You ain't pregnant again, are you?" I replied, "No, I'm just fat." Okay. So you can see, as foster parents, we get some interesting comments from the community. I like some of these foster parents' responses. So keep sending us your funny stories. I'm still looking for some more responses on the kids say the darndest things, and we'd love to read those also in a future episode. So once again, I'm going to wrap this up. I'd like to thank Jack Levine again for such a wonderful interview. And like I said, I can't wait to see if we can get him on in the future to share some more information about becoming a great quality advocate for our kids. And last but not least, don't forget, stay tuned. Our show airs every Friday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you miss it and you're busy, you are in a meeting, you can't watch us, they're always posted. So you can go in right after the show, click on past episodes, and you can watch them. You can watch them over and over again. You can watch them at night and share them with your friends and family, and of course, all your foster parent friends. So with that, I'd like to say goodbye. Don't forget to eat your lunch. Thanks, and see you next week.